Hello guys, welcome to our English talk show. Today we are very happy to have invited a distinguished guest to be on our show. Hi sir, welcome. Welcome to our talk show, welcome to China.
Thank you.
Could you first please introduce yourself a bit more to our audience?
Sure, so my name is Guillaume Olive and I am a French author of mostly children books, and this is the first time that I will participate to the Fulay Prize as a member of the jury.
Could you also tell us a bit more about the Fulay Prize? What's the prize about?
Well, actually it's a prize that for translating some French novels. Actually there are two categories, one in essay, that will be social sciences, and another one for literature. And so two topics, two different categories, and so in each there will be one winner. Today at the press conference there will be 5 in each category that will be selected, and then in 1 month for the ceremony there will be, I believe, 1 in each category that will have the prize. And so this is a special ceremony today, a special ceremony this year because this is the 10th anniversary of the prize. It exists for 10 years, and it's co-organized, I assume, by the French embassy, with the French government, in order to promote French literature. And well, it's quite interesting because this year there was, I remember, about 80 titles that were submitted to us, to the member of the jury. So
only one in the end.
Only one at the end.
Two categories.
Two categories, and some others maybe for young translators. And so I believe that at the end there will be probably maybe 4 or 5 books that will be rewarded. But most importantly, there was very good books and good translations that were suggested to us that we had to read this year.
Very good. So as a member of the jury here, I'm sure you got very strict criteria, right, to judge, to do the assessment of the quality of the translation. Can you maybe tell us a bit about how do you do the evaluation usually?
Of course, actually, I think that everyone has a different approach, because there was maybe 4 or 5 members of the juries from China, Chinese people, and 4, I think, on the French side. So we had, each of us had made many translations and in different kind of literature. So despite the fact that my specialty is children books, I've been translating poetry as well, Chinese classic poetry, Tang Shi, from the Tang Dynasty.
From Chinese into
French. So my vision is to maybe be as close as possible from the original text. This has always been my goal when I translate. So this is why I was seeking in all the books that were suggested to me this year. So the feeling is the feeling of the original transmitted well in the final translation. This is what I was.
I see. Is you really much related to what you've been doing also? Yeah.
Yes. Well, depending on everyone's experience, and taste, that there are some specific points that you might pay more attention to.
Yeah. It must be a really challenging thing, right, to do the translation. And also, you mentioned you translate some children poetry or Chinese poetry from Tang Dynasty into French. Yes. Well, that's quite, because I personally did some translation before from Chinese into English. It was quite difficult to translate poetry. So can you tell us about your experience? So what's the most challenging thing when doing the translation?
Well, the thing is that Chinese and French does not work the same way at all. So, and specifically for poetry, since you don't know exactly what time it was when the poet was expressing himself, if that's himself or someone else, because sometimes there is no subject in the phrase, so you don't know exactly if that's I. For example, if he says "I see the moon," well, you have to imagine if that's he or she or them, and if it was the day before or the day after. Sometimes there are no keys, and so you have to invent to get the feeling of the
from your own perspective, right?
Exactly, and so it's more a question of approach. But I do believe that in translating, the feeling is very important. So if you can, sometimes even if the words are not specifically accurate, if the feeling is good, if the feeling is right, then you get more closely to the original sense. And in that sense, I think that artificial intelligence, because that's a very big topic now in terms of translating, is not ready yet to get that sense, that specific feeling.
Yeah, that feeling can only
exactly
human grasp at the moment.
Absolutely, right? So far.
So far, yes, yeah. Wow, and also as a writer, and I know inspirations are very important for writing books, right? Can you tell us in general, where do you often get inspirations for your writings from?
Well, inspiration is most of the time it comes from experience of life, and well, typically recently I work with my wife. She makes the paintings and I write. So most of the time we share what kind of stories we would like to tell and we would like to explore it in our books. Recently we made a book about our dog, because we used to have a dog, and he died when our kid was 4, and so our kid was asking us every morning, where is he? Where is our dog name was Leo. Where is Leo? And this is the title of the book, Where is Leo?
Where's Leo?
And we told him, well, Leo doesn't live anymore. He died. And I know, but where is he? So, and actually he had a lot of memories with the dog, and that was one subject for our book. Well, this is an instance, but so sometimes it comes from life, sometimes from tales, because, well,
fairy tales, fables.
Fables, and well, China has a lot of tales, very interesting tales, especially with animals that we explore as well. So this is one part of our work. We explore Chinese folkloric tales.
Folk
as well.
Tales.
Yes.
Which one impresses you the most among so many Chinese folk tales?
Well, actually, I've been translating a lot, so it's difficult to pick one. But recently, we made one out of 猴子老月, about monkeys that actually try to get the moon out of the water. So this one's good.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I remember. That brings me back to my memory, from my childhood. I think it's in our textbook. Everyone read that story before, and it's quite interesting and inspiring.
Exactly. Of course. This is why we try to promote it again. Yes.
Thank you. So you're promoting the Chinese. It's because it represents Chinese culture as well, right?
Absolutely.
To the outside world.
Yes, I've been working with French publishing companies for the last 15 years, and so this is one part of my work. I'm not only doing this, but I've been rewriting, adapting, and translating Chinese folk tales to children in France and in Europe.
One more question. As an experienced writer, translator as you, can you give some advice to the audience who also want to become writer or translator?
Well, yes, my advice will be in order to write, to go to the end of the project. If you have a project, because we all think of stories we would like to tell, of stories we would like to write, and often we take notes, and then the notes get more and more, and you don't know what to do with it, and at the end you don't write your story. My advice will be to get the notes all together and to write the story to the end, and to present it to publishing and to publishers, because we need, well, I think the world needs the story of every one of us. So that will be probably my advice to persons who would like to publish a book. And in terms of translating, as I said before, it's important to know the basics and to understand how precisely you have to translate a language. But when you reach that level, it's important maybe to remind the feeling thing I was talking about earlier, in order to get to the right
message, right?
Exactly.
The message with the feeling. That's a higher level for translation.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you so much for taking the interview and sharing all those valuable viewpoints with us.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
See you guys next time.